Hi, folks. This is Game of the Day with John Watson. I'm reporting from the 2016 London Classic, which is being played in London, obviously, and has been very exciting so far. The first two rounds had three decisive results apiece. It's kind of a great break from the World Championship match, which was somewhat dull, at least in pure chess terms. But now we've got some real fighting chess going on, and today really was no exception, even though all the games were drawn except one. There were three very, very exciting fighting games that went on. And in general, I think we're getting the spirit of the players are really in a mood, in a hungry mood to play good double-edged chess. Now, it's true that two of the games today were rather uneventful. Caruana Kramnik was predictably one of these 1e4, e5 games, which we are being cursed with recently and where very little seems to happen. And maybe Caruana got a tiny edge, but Kramnik handled everything very easily. The game was pretty even throughout and was ultimately drawn. Adams-Geary also was predictably cautious, given those two players, and nothing exciting much happening, a fairly dull opening and fairly even, and everything petered out to a draw. I should say that at the end, Adams faltered a little bit, or at least made a strange decision. Maybe it was intentional, but he does seem to be slightly out of form because he allowed us an ending that was slightly favorable to Geary, and although he handled it just fine. So Adams doesn't seem to be playing that well yet, but he's just, the tournament is still young, and he got his first half point. So, in fact, maybe I should mention the standings. The decisive result was Nakamura beating Anand. So the standings at this point are Wesley So, 2.5, leading the tournament and the entire tour. And second place are Caruana, Kramnik, and Aronian at 2 points. In third place are Anand, Nakamura, and Geary at 1.5 points. In fourth place is Vachier Lagrave with 1 point. And bringing up the rear is Adams and Topalov with 1/2 point. So Aronian So is the first game I'm going to take a really, really quick look at. It was a very interesting game, and it looked like White was quite a bit better at one point, but it just wasn't so easy. And Aronian missed a few chances to keep the pressure on. Let me just dash through the moves. The opening's a wonderful classic opening that Nimzovich first played for White, where Black just keeps moving his knight again and again and again, and White gets a big lead in development, but is positionally awfully placed because of that d4 pawn. This is very well known. And this is something Nepomniachtchi Chichi came up with, this knight d3 repetition. In the old days, they used to play knight e6 in this position to cover that square, and there's thousands of games, and it's a wonderful theory. It's a great, great opening. And here, sometimes people play queen b3 to sort of indirectly attack that, but he played queen e2, and Black made the interesting decision to take. I suppose knight f4 is possible. But anyway, we're just going to look at the game because this is not really the game of the day. But okay, so White's trying to get a little pressure in the center, maybe knight e4. But Black does have the bishop pair, and the king is not in a great position. So White still has a nice lead in development. Black starts to catch up here. He has two bishops. He has the bishop pair, and he figures out a way of getting castle to queenside. So far, so fairly even. Looks like White has more chances than Black. Because look, that rook right on the king, but actually Black's very solid on the queen side. Not too much is happening here. And then suddenly a major thing happens here. Black gets off of that diagonal, and White gets a little bit of pressure attacking that f-pawn, and then attacks the center. And right now, Black should have just simplified with the move knight b4. Because after this, White had that nice move. Now Black has two bishops and White has two knights, but the knight is extremely well placed here, and if he takes that knight, of course, there's going to be a lot of pressure on the king. Well, he pretty much has to take it, I should say, because c5 is hanging. Okay, now do I need to... I don't want to go too far here. Right now, d4 was a good move, but that's a good move too. Well, White's even thinking about just taking that and then checking and bringing the knight in and playing for mate. So Black decides to just grab, and White attacks. This is the natural way to play. And